Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here today, my name is Odds, and we are going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 2. So, yeah, we are on the second episode of Boba Fett. Ultimately, I thought it was a better episode than the first one. The first one was real slow, not gonna lie to you, which you definitely saw giving the title of my last video. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you a breakdown of the episode, give you my thoughts. And if you're new here today, I would love for you to subscribe. I do 2 videos a week, beauty, vlogs, Star Wars, Marvel, DC. There's something on this channel for everybody. I just saw we're getting more boys content soon, so there will be lots of stuff on this channel this year I'm really excited for, so be sure to stay tuned for more. And I will probably at some point amp it up to 3 videos a week, but at least until the middle of February of what we have so far, it'll be 2 videos a week. So be sure to subscribe to stay tuned. If you like this video while you're watching, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. It really helps me out, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, this episode is titled The Tribes of Tatooine, referring to the Tuskens, also referring to the different tribes and people that are trying to take over the rule of the daimyo, or just the rule in general. So we have Boba Fett, obviously, with Fennec Shand and his Gamorrean guards. Then we have the leader of the Cantina, although she doesn't seem like she's really trying to take over anybody's position, but she's definitely a war of power. We have the mayor, and then we have, of course, the twin Hutts that arrive in this episode. Yes, we get more Hutts. We'll see if they have quite the personality they have from the Clone Wars. We'll have to see about that. But yes, we get the reintroduction of the Hutts in this episode. But then we're also talking about the different tribes of the Tuskens, because the ones that take in Boba Fett are just one tribe of Tuskens. There's many different tribes that live along the Dune Sea. So they interrogate the prisoner by dropping him into the Rancor pit, which at first I was like, did they get a new Rancor? Because obviously we know it is empty since Return of the Jedi. Luke did end up killing the Rancor by crushing it under the weight of the door. So no, the Rancor pit is still empty, but the assassin gets so scared that he ends up admitting that he was sent by the mayor. Or that's what he supposedly was sent by the mayor, because they then go visit the mayor, and the mayor denies that that ever happened. The mayor warns Boba Fett about family, which is to prelude the return of the Hutts, the twin Hutts that show up later in the episode, who are cousins of Jabba the Hutt and are laying claim to daimyo because that is their Huttese role. It's bestowed upon them, even though Bib Fortuna had taken over for Jabba the Hutt for decades since, so not sure why they're just now trying to come take claim, but I heard maybe they heard Boba Fett was in and they decided that, you know, things are going to be totally different under him, so we need to come take this for ourselves. Or maybe they just got the news that Jabba the Hutt was dead. I don't know how long it takes news to travel, but it had been, I assume it had been at least 5 years. I'm not sure about the timeline again, but I think it's a lot longer after that than before, but it's after the events of Return of the Jedi, so who knows how long it took for them to get that news. The twin Hutts have a Wookiee guard, which is really cool. We get to see more Wookiees. I love seeing other Wookiees in this universe. They're one of my favorite of the alien species, not just because I love Chewie, but yes, I love Chewie. So we haven't seen any other Wookiees, I think, since Revenge of the Sith. So, or we've seen them in animated stuff as well. We saw them in the Clone Wars, but I think since Revenge of the Sith we haven't seen another Wookiee besides Chewie in live action. I could be wrong about that one, but it was really exciting to see another Wookiee. So he's having more nightmares, but we go back to... This doesn't seem much like a nightmare, it seems more like a dream flashback sequence, where the rest of the episode we have some shots of him on that more nightmarish. We see some shots of young Boba Fett looking out as Daddy Jango Fett is flying off and going to do another bounty hunt. Wonder if we're going to see any Jango Fett in this season, because they could. They could just de-age Tamora Morrison. They could always do that. Also, there's a lot of R's in that name, and it's very hard for me to say with my little southern accent. So they could always de-age him. So it's possible Jango could show up. We see young Boba a little bit, probably just with footage that they already had, or because the actor is now much older. Don't you love how aging works? We see Tuskens being attacked by a train of bandits, which are actually, we find out they're the Spice Runners. They are the Pikes from the Clone Wars, so they're in charge of spice. They're big spice traders. They do a lot of work with, with like Hondo, Ohnaka, and all them, so maybe Hondo will show up in live action. We'll see. Hondo actually is already in live action because he has a live action character for Smuggler's Run, so maybe we'll see Hondo Ohnaka. I mean, that's a dream of mine in live action. He might be in Solo. I never saw Solo, so I don't know. He probably is in Solo, now that I say that. Ignore me. Just don't... So, Boba then goes and slays a bunch of these raiders in a bar, takes all their speeders, and trains the Tuskens on how to use the speeders, which was a funny sequence. We got a little bit of a little training montage going on. Boba Fett being the teacher, instead of him learning their ways, he's teaching some of them his ways, which is really cool to see them work back and forth. This episode did the relationship between Tuskens and Boba Fett really well, and even though he started out as a slave of them, he doesn't hold any animosity towards them. He is completely accepting of their ways. So after they train on the speeders, they then stop the train. There's an epic fight sequence between the Pikes, the Tuskens, and Boba on the train, and they ultimately end up stopping the train and capturing the prisoners, which we find out revealed to be the Pikes, who are wearing masks. Yeah, the Pikes don't actually look like that. That's just helmets. So yeah, they look a lot different than a lot of us really thought. A lot more gills on their face. Not great looking. He puts in effect a toll that must be paid every time to cross the Dune Sea, because this is now Tusken land and they're not just aimless raiders, which I think is really good. I think this is going to foreshadow possibly Boba working with the Tuskens even later on as daimyo. So hopefully we get to see more of this relationship, but we don't know exactly what happened yet to lead him away and back on his mission of finding his armor. So hopefully we'll see, we'll most likely see what happened there, because it seems like we're continuing that storyline until we get to where we saw him in The Mandalorian. They put a lizard inside his head. It crawls up his nose and goes into his head, and it causes him to hallucinate, and he ends up coming back with a branch from a tree that is then used to create the weapon that they use, that big stick weapon that they use. We see a montage of where he gets the Tusken garbs and then forges his weapon with that branch. So I thought that was really nice. Ultimately, this episode was a lot better than the first one. We get to see more of what's going on and just build up some lore. I like seeing more stuff about the Tuskens. I'm interested to see where we're going to go with the spice. Since we're seeing some spice traders and some spice runners going in here, how exactly we're going to connect things together, because it is going to be connected most likely to Star Wars as a whole. I don't see this being an Elseworld other side story just because Boba Fett is such a big character and important to the Star Wars main timeline and story. So I see that we're probably going to get more of Boba Fett maybe in Mandalorian Season 3 as well. So we'll see how exactly it will connect to the greater Star Wars lore. I don't have any questions this week. I mean, I do. I didn't write them down, and I will let you know I'm exhausted today. I'm just very tired. Yeah, so I'm not going to have the little question section that I usually have, but I should have it for next week because I'll be a lot more put together for episode 3. But let me know your thoughts on the episode down below as always. And if you liked this video, again, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I really would love for you to join. We are trying to get to 400 subscribers and then 500 by the end of the year. So I'm really hoping we can get there. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on Friday with a new video. Bye!